Comrades of thought, architects of the future, the hour of eco-cooperativism has come. Comrades, thinkers, scientists, artists, builders of the unseen architectures of tomorrow, we stand at the edge of a precipice that no generation before us has ever faced. The old world collapses under its own contradictions: ecological devastation, digital alienation, moral exhaustion. Every institution, every structure of authority, every form of governance that once claimed legitimacy now lies exposed as obsolete, not merely unjust, but irrational. The very engines of civilization, the markets, the corporations, the bureaucracies, devour the world that sustains them. We have reached the terminal stage of capitalist absurdity, a system that manufactures hunger amidst abundance, loneliness amidst communication, extinction in the name of progress. It is not a crisis of economics, it is a crisis of metaphysics. Humanity has mistaken growth for purpose, production for meaning, technology for liberation. The machine now commands its maker. The algorithm now dictates the rhythm of life. The planet suffocates under the weight of unreason disguised as necessity. And yet, as always in the dialectic of history, the seed of liberation germinates within the ruins of oppression. From the wreckage of the capitalist epoch arises the possibility of a new synthesis, a civilization guided not by profit but by cooperation, not by ownership but by stewardship, not by domination but by participation. This, comrades, is the vision of eco-cooperativism, the convergence of ecological reason, technological possibility, and human solidarity. It is not a dream, but a program. It is not a fantasy, but a necessity. Today I speak not to the passive observer, not to the dreamer who waits for history to deliver redemption, but to you, the intellectual cadres, the living conscience of humanity, the bridge between vision and execution. The eco-cooperativist revolution cannot be made by slogans, it must be designed, engineered, organized. The tools are ready, the networks, the data, the capacity for planetary coordination. What is missing is the will, the faith in reason, the courage to act as the architects of the next world. Comrades, let us speak clearly. Reform is no longer sufficient. The house of the old order is built upon rot. To patch its walls is to invite collapse. We do not need to repaint the ruins, we must raise new foundations. The crisis is systemic, ecological, economic, moral, and therefore the solution must be systemic as well. The eco-cooperativist project is not a new ideology, it is a new infrastructure of being, a reorganization of human life around the principle that knowledge and cooperation are the true engines of progress. We must cease to believe that salvation will come from governments or markets. Both are avatars of the same archaic principle: control through scarcity. The market enslaves through competition, the state enslaves through centralization. Eco-cooperativism transcends both, not as a utopia, but as a technical, ecological, and moral necessity. Through distributed networks, open algorithms, and democratic automation, we reclaim the collective power that the bourgeoisie has fragmented. We make democracy operational. We make reason sovereign. Comrades, history teaches us that every revolution begins not with the masses, but with clarity of mind. Lenin knew that before one can seize power, one must seize understanding. The eco-cooperativist vanguard must be intellectual, not in arrogance, but in responsibility. It is we who must articulate the logic of transition, design the mechanisms of cooperation, and demonstrate by example that a post-capitalist order is not only desirable but inevitable. We are not prophets, we are engineers of destiny. The revolution we envision does not march with rifles, but with code, with algorithms, with ecological planning, with transparent accounting, with the harmonization of human need and planetary limit. This is not the revolution of destruction, it is the revolution of construction. The barricades of our century are not in the streets, but in the data centers, the research institutes, the cooperative enterprises, the laboratories of the future. And yet, let us not deceive ourselves. Every privilege will resist. Every entrenched interest will sneer, delay, distort. They will tell you that it cannot be done, that human nature is selfish, that markets are inevitable, that democracy is inefficient, that hierarchy is necessary. These are the hymns of the old world, the lullabies of servitude. To them we answer, it is not human nature that created capitalism, it is capitalism that deformed human nature. Cooperation is not an ideal, it is our oldest instinct. Even now, in the cracks of the system, cooperation thrives in science, in open knowledge, in communities that share, teach, and build without profit. We must amplify what already exists, systematize what is latent, universalize what is local. Comrades, the eco-operativist revolution is not a leap into the unknown, it is a return to sanity. We are not the dreamers, we are the realists who dare to think in planetary terms. The true utopians are those who believe infinite growth can coexist with a finite planet. The true idealists are those who believe greed can organize justice. Our realism is mathematical, ecological, rational. We recognize that the biosphere sets the limits, that technology can coordinate without oppressing, that democracy can plan without chaos. But we must act now. The window narrows. The glacier melt, the forests burn, the oceans acidify. We cannot debate forever while time evaporates. The world needs a living demonstration that another order is possible. That is our duty, to build pilot systems, to construct cooperative infrastructures, to prove by example that collective ownership, direct democracy, and automated coordination can outperform the archaic logic of capital. Comrades of intellect, this is your historical responsibility. The workers' revolution of the past centuries was betrayed by bureaucracy. The ecological revolution of our time will triumph only if it is guided by knowledge. The cadres of this revolution must not be generals but designers, not rulers but facilitators, not priests but engineers of transparency. Every intellectual, every coder, every philosopher, every scientist who refuses to serve the old gods of profit must see themselves as part of this great construction. Let us reimagine what it means to be revolutionary. To be revolutionary today is not to destroy blindly, but to create consciously. It is to design systems that make exploitation impossible by architecture itself. It is to use AI not as a master but as a servant of democracy. It is to render greed obsolete through abundance, hierarchy meaningless through transparency, and domination impossible through collective design. The eco-operativist vanguard must therefore become an organized intelligence, a federation of thinkers, programmers, ecologists, educators, artists united not by dogma but by principle, not by obedience but by cooperation. We must create a network of networks, a planetary forum of reason. Let every university, every research lab, every cooperative enterprise become a cell of this new structure, autonomous, interconnected, mutually reinforcing. Comrades, do not wait for permission. Begin. Organize your circles, your cooperatives, your digital assemblies. Transform every intellectual space into a laboratory of emancipation. Create platforms of decision-making, experiment with collective planning, write the code of democracy itself. Build the prototype of the future while the old world collapses around it. Every act of creation, every node of cooperation, is an act of revolution. And when the powers of the old order confront us as they will, with their cynicism, their mockery, their threats, we shall answer with calm certainty, you are obsolete. You belong to the past. The future has already begun, and it is cooperative. Comrades, the struggle ahead is immense, but the horizon is luminous. We do not fight for the victory of one class, but for the redemption of the entire species. We fight not against humanity, but for its continuation. The eco-operativist revolution is the synthesis of all previous emancipatory movements: socialism without centralization, anarchism without chaos, ecology without romanticism, technology without domination. It is the maturation of human reason. Let us rise, therefore, as the new vanguard of consciousness. Let our pens, our algorithms, our models, our ideas become the instruments of emancipation. Let us reject despair, for despair is the final weapon of the oppressor. Let us reject cynicism, for cynicism is the camouflage of cowardice. Let us affirm the simple, radiant truth that cooperation is not only possible but inevitable, that humanity, faced with extinction, will choose solidarity over annihilation. Comrades of intellect, this is your summons. History has opened the gate. The moment demands your courage, your clarity, your commitment. Stand, therefore, not as observers, but as founders. The eco-operativist age begins not in some distant future, it begins wherever reason organizes, wherever cooperation replaces competition, wherever intelligence serves freedom. The old world dies, the new world struggles to be born. Let us be its midwives. Let us be the generation that refused to surrender thought to greed, knowledge to ownership, or the planet to ruin. The revolution is not coming, it is already here, waiting for those with eyes to see and hands to build. Comrades, the hour of eco-operativism has come. Let us act, let us build, let us prevail.